This is a production of West Virginia Public Broadcasting.
Hey there, I'm David Markham, and welcome to a very special episode of Mountainthology. This month, we're working with the award-winning team from Inside Appalachia to bring you 4 stories not only from West Virginia, but from our Appalachian neighbor states as well. With that, here's our modest anchor, Mountain Ambassador, Mr. Appalachia, Mason Adams.
Most of the time, athletes welcome technical innovations in sports equipment. Gone are the days when folks ran marathons in Converse sneakers. And you don't hear basketball players pining for 1970s style short shorts. But some fly fishermen still prefer to do things the old-fashioned way, using tackle made from traditional materials. Folkways reporter Zach Harrell takes us to the Elk River to meet Lee Orr of the 304 Rod Company.
My dad is from Montana, so every year we would go to Montana. He would take all his vacation at once, so we'd spend the whole month of August. We would fish every other day. A couple guys came up this little creek, I think it's Little Bear Creek or something. It's up near the Wyoming border, or might actually be in Wyoming. And they just were catching fish one after the other. So I told my dad, it's like, I want to learn how to fly fish. I'd cast a lot of old bamboo rods before and was not a fan, big, long, heavy things. And we're at a fly fishing school that Trout Unlimited ran, and somebody had a little 7-foot Orvis bamboo rod, and I cast that, and I really liked it. And did some research and was shocked to find that you can build these things in your basement. So I said, I'll learn how to do that. Process is a 12-foot long section of bamboo, a pole of bamboo, also known as a culm, a C-U-L-M. And within that thing, you cut it in half, and you take that bamboo and you split it. You actually take a knife and twist and break it apart, and then you break it down into 6 individual strips, and then you have to work it and straighten it, get the little bumps and hooves out of it, and then you put it in what's called a planing form, and you use a hand plane, and this steel form has a taper in there. And so you're making a 60-degree angle on each one of these strips and with a taper in it. So then you wind up with 6 60-degree strips tapered that you then roll back up together and glue together. When I started, there was a old time, since like ancient history, there was a listserv. So it was an email listserv where you go and ask questions and people would answer you. And then there's a bamboo rod forum that's still active. Just a bunch of old cranky old guys, that's kind of the community, but they're really helpful about passing down information. The guide makers that I have, there was plans online and I didn't have the things for it, and someone sent me all the stuff from it, all the brass hex rod and these set screws and ounces, and just said, hey, well, next time somebody else needs something, you just kind of pay it forward kind of thing. So, and I've done that. I found an old chunk of American chestnut in an old house that had fallen down, and got on that forum and say, hey, anybody wants American chestnut to make some reel seats out of, and wind up shipping that stuff all over to people that want it. Just like, give me the shipping and I'll send you the wood and stuff. So I sell several rods throughout the course of the year, 10 to 15 rods a year. It's not a lucrative thing. There's no way I can retire off of making fly rods, but it pays for the entertainment, the hobby part of it. There's tradition. There's rules of things you have to do. You have to use silk thread. You have to use a metal called nickel silver. So this is the way you do it because you want to continue on this trend. There's still a couple of pieces that I don't make, but eventually I get to the point where I'd like to make it stem to stern, every bit of it myself. I gotta probably retire before I do that and get a little more equipment. This one is, of course, I probably didn't put a date on it. I've just put a number. This is the 13th one, 11th one. So that's probably, I don't know, 17 years old or somewhere around in there. There's the handmade part of it, which sometimes lends itself to a little bit of imperfection. Why would you want it to be perfect? You want it to look like somebody handcrafted that. In West Virginia, it's harder to catch fish on a fly rod than it is a spinning rod because our streams are typically really small. If I just wanted to go catch fish, I would go fish a carbon rod and I'd fish live bait and I would catch more fish. It's relatively cheap, easy to get, works just fine. But there's a lot of things that work just fine that just kind of lack a little bit of soul to them. It's not just the fishing part. I'm also in a creek away from everybody and up in the mountains, and that's the appeal of that.
In Highland County, Virginia, and its neighboring counties in West Virginia, making maple syrup has become tradition. They are some of the southernmost areas in the U.S. where maple syrup can be made. These days, producers are experimenting, both out of curiosity and out of necessity. Folkways reporter Clara Hazlett visited Highland County to learn about the process and the sticky situation that comes with the change in seasons.
It's that time of year again. The Highland County Maple Festival has been a staple for over 60 years here in Highland County since 1959. We'll have 10 local sugar camps. You can see traditional methods as well as modern ones.
It's an old school way of doing it.
I was born down the road about 3/4 of a mile. Every farm had a sugar shack, and it wasn't mainly for syrup, it was mainly for sugar.
Pat started helping his dad make syrup when he was 8 years old, and we've been doing it together for 23 years. He won't tell you this, but he has maple syrup in his veins. And he would make syrup 365 days a year if he could.
It's been 4 or 5 generations of puffin burgers back from the 1700s. At these mountains, yeah, we're just suited for the maple trees and making maple syrup.
It's just very traditional. So we're trying to break the traditions a little bit.
People kept asking, what do you have that's new? Nobody had anything, it was new. It was, light syrup, medium syrup, dark syrup. We started experimenting with infusions.
Now we are going to do chili pepper and ginger.
And I read about some hickory syrup that a guy had made.
And hickory is made from the bark of a hickory tree. You'll get this next. My husband loves to make syrup, so he can make this when he can't make maple syrup. It has to be above freezing during the day.
Walnut syrup is made, in theory, exactly like maple syrup. The tree is tapped, the sap is harvested and brought back and boiled. Walnut specifically is what we specialize in, which is kind of like a frontier. There's a lot of things to learn still. Just as the season goes along. This season was a little unpredictable with the weather. It was unseasonably warm in February for this region, so a lot of the West Virginia and this part of Virginia producers didn't have a great season, to be honest.
The first, I would say, 10 years that we made syrup together, it was pretty regular. This year, it's kind of all over the place.
Honestly, in my 71 years, I have never seen a February like this.
There again. Warm, cold nights, perfect. 40 in the day is perfect. You get up to 60 and 70. Yeah. This year was a little different. My husband decided about re-drilling trees, taking the taps out and just making a whole new hole. So he did that this past week. And he's never done that before. With the warm temperatures in February, the climate's changing, and that might be a new thing we're going to do.
Even this Maple Festival, there's talk about having that earlier because over the years it's become less and less in the middle of the season.
In this bucket. See it? And it fills up with the tree juice. And then we get syrup.
We're just kind of depending on God that the trees, will bud out every year, and so we will have a maple season of some sort.
Even though it's unpredictable and it's very hard, like labor intensive, I like that aspect about it.
To me, it has a calming effect. If I have a hard day, even if we're not doing anything up here at the Sugar Shack, I will come up here, sit on the porch and watch the sun go down, and it makes me feel better. Some people play golf, some people fish, and some people make maple sugar.
The fur trade has been around for a long time. In fact, it was one of Appalachia's first industries. Before coal or timber, European traders and settlers swapped iron tools and cookware for animal skins collected by native hunters. The skins were sent overseas and made a splash in the European fashion scene. Trapping was still lucrative well into the latter part of the 20th century. These days, West Virginia fur trappers struggle to earn a living. The market is fickle and tied to fashion and public opinion. Despite the instability, some trappers in West Virginia have adapted. They've gone on to snare new careers using their particular skills. Folkways reporters Lauren Griffin and Clara Hazlett bring us this story.
I do have a genuine fear that whenever I am in my 50s or 60s that there will not be as many of us. But the reason that it's not going to go away, this is, for most of us, this is not a hobby. This is who we are. I'm the owner of Windy Ridge Trapper. It was founded in Ward County, West Virginia by my dad, Jason Steller.
I think it's right over there. If you're a Stutler, you're pretty much expected. You're either going to be a preacher or a trapper, or both.
That's one of them right there, but I'll get out on the bank and get in.
All right.
We specialize in beaver trapping. Every animal has its own niche. See that muskrats go in the water? The beaver market is almost always primarily for hats. That's just what beavers are there for.
The two biggest things we do is buying fur and selling trapping supplies.
After we receive the animal in, whether we buy it or whether we catch it, we will skin it. We use the hide to make money off of it. We take it to market and sell it.
XL and 3XL heavy raccoons, 29 to 35 inches, there's one of them. So give a $5 bill and let's get it started. 2.5 and work your way up. 3.5, 2.5, and it'll go 3.5, and 3.5, and it'll go 3.5, 2.5, and it'll go 3.5, and 3.5, and it'll go 4.5, and 4.5, and it'll go 4.5, and it'll go 5.5, and 6.5, and 7.5, and 8.5, 9.5, 10.5, 11.5, 12.5, 10 to 12.5, 12.5, 12.5, 2.5. What do you think? 10.5, it'll go to 11.5. 1 into 11.5, 11.5. 10.50 to buyer number 9. $10.50, $10.50.
The fur auction of Glenville is one of my favorite days of the year. I look forward to it just like a vacation. Me and all of my, like, it's such a big deal to me and my family that all of my buddies will go up there. It's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday thing. So as soon as we get off work Friday, we all hop in the car and we stay there the whole weekend. It's a really special thing to us.
Hey, Sam. I was hoping you'd make it.
All right, we've got one grease coon donated by Austin Stutler to the general fund. And remember, whether it's general fund or the education fund, they help with the young trappers that are just getting started. All right, here we go. What do I get for it? Who do I give?
So I'm Jeremiah Whitlatch. I'm West Virginia Trappers Association president. This is a fraction of what the fur sale's normally like. Usually this whole back floor here is piled with coon in our good years, good season, which I'm really optimistic about the next couple years. Every so many years they say that there's a fur boom, where prices go up and down really drastically and stuff like that. It's all supply and demand, really. Our membership fluctuates with the prices too.
You guys go through a lot of hard work and you do it because you love it, because there's been no money in this for a couple of years now.
But the ones that you see here now that's got the fur up are the die-hard trappers that do it because that's what they've done all their life and they love it and they support it. So they're going to continue to trap. It don't matter what the market is.
Dollar bill way back, buyer 7.
We didn't buy that much this year because of how the state of the fur market, and we didn't trap as much this year as what we normally do. But probably around half of the beavers that were at the fur auction were ours. We also brought some bobcats and coyotes and coons. It's a dying breed. There's not very many people that do it, and whenever you get with a small group of people that still care about it and that they identify with the same beliefs that you do, it's a special kind of feeling. It's something that a lot of people are not okay with. Whenever I was a kid, there were multiple times that Dad either got phone calls or letters in the mail with people telling him that he was crazy and that we were bad people for the things that we did. But I have absolutely no remorse for anything that we do. I know that everything that we do has a purpose. We do everything as humanely as possible. Even after it has passed, we try to put up a quality product and it gives that animal's life more meaning.
Yeah, we got it. Got a beaver. Yeah. Yeah. It's a small one, but we got one.
It's all about just taking pride in something that not very many people do anymore, to remember the things that our families have taught us.
It's kind of a big deal for us.
Looks perfect. When John Haywood was 13 years old, he got his first guitar and his first tattoo. Years later, John's now the proprietor of Parlor Room Art and Tattoo in Whitesburg, Kentucky, where some folks are picking designs and others are picking strings. Folkways reporter Zach Harold visited Parlor Room, where a community bonds over tattoos and traditional music.
Tattooing and having a tattoo shop in a place like this ain't really just about tattooing. You know, it's about these folks that come in. It's about providing a place for folks to feel comfortable at. The lobby pretty much serves as kind of a art gallery, just to kind of vibe the place up, make sure there's plenty of designs and flash and inspiration around, because everybody tends to bring in a lot of the same old on the internet, so we try to keep a unique sort of something to kind of get their brains maybe looking at just some art, or maybe looking at some traditional books and stuff like that. I remember at one time saying, Johnny, what do you want, man? You know, you're here, you're showing up, you're taking out the trash, you're getting us food, you know. I was like, we'll give you free tattoos. And then you start to realize that there's no way I can do that many tattoos. I don't know, at some point, it just became an apprenticeship.
I'll be honest with you, I drew a lot as a kid and stuff, but addictions took me away from everything that I loved in life. And when I first started coming around, there weren't a lot of people that liked me and accepted me from not being around here. I always felt fine here, and fascinated by the art and the atmosphere, and then they just kind of took me under their wing, really.
You can go online and learn, you know, find somebody explaining everything you want to know about this. But what you don't get from that is the importance of learning how to connect with clientele, seeing like what they may be going through when they come through the doors, what they may be thinking of. They're not artists, you know, but we are.
Ideas. A few hours maybe? Yeah, I'd say about 4 hours, something like that.
I know John for a long time. We go way back playing metal music, punk music stuff back when I was in, you know, high school age. So John opened the shop naturally. That's where I come to. He's done a full sleeve, full back piece, a full front piece, and some leg work.
We were friends and knew each other, but because he came and started getting tattoos, that was where our, you know, that really made our friendship.
I've got stage 4 colon cancer, so you know I'm traveling to Lexington for treatment every 2 weeks, and I've had 3 major surgeries in the last 2 years, and probably since I first was diagnosed, he's always checked in on me, messaged me.
To me, I was just like, there's something we've got to do. What if we made just like a sheet and did these designs, and that anytime they get a tattoo of this, we can put the shop commission towards Brad. Sit on the table.
Once you hold it.
Okay. Cold tipple. Got some peas here, a little pea plant. Got a little black snake, dude. Got an arrowhead. Couple of frogs. And then this is someone with the long handle underwear on. Somebody said, is that Keith Whitley with the long handle underwear on?
The solidarity and the support, probably, I mean, it means more than even the money's secondary to, you know, just the support it makes you feel.
The inspiration for the parlor room, I liked the idea of it being a little social hangout spot. It just kind of naturally became that because that's just who we are. Our friends were here, ready to help. The folks that hung around the shop and the folks that hung around our little music community that really sort of banded together, and we pulled together during all that stuff and made it work. And I've always been a shy, social person. Music and art has always been my best way to communicate to folks. And I've just had to learn to embrace that. You know, I might not be the best person with words or whatever, but I hope to be able to contribute something, you know, through the form of music and art. It's funny what tattooing does for folks, and it's, you know, when you put something on someone and they walk out of here, you see them feeling better about something, and you know, it feels pretty good to know that you can do that for someone.
I'm Mason Adams. I'm host of Inside Appalachia. Inside Appalachia is a radio show and podcast that is by and for and about folks who live in the Appalachian Mountains. I found it as a podcast years before I worked for it and began listening while I would listen to it while I was milking goats in the mornings. I then became one of the first of Inside Appalachia's Folkways reporters. When I applied for the program in 2018, my first story aired in 2019. And then in 2020, I became co-host of the show along with Caitlin Tan. Caitlin has eventually left, and now I host Inside Appalachia myself. Now, I grew up on the Virginia-West Virginia border and actually went to school for wildlife, but I was drawn to journalism. It wasn't just a job for me, it was a calling. And one of the things I really was into was these bigger picture stories about the Blue Ridge, about Appalachia. So when I made the decision to leave wildlife biology and get into journalism, it was really important to me to tell regional stories. So there's so much focus on national news. Everybody follows what's happening in Washington, D.C. and in the big East Coast metros, and that's important. But Appalachia is a whole region, and its people have often been overlooked through the years, or they've been not allowed to tell their own stories. So Inside Appalachia is an avenue to tell Appalachian stories with this we have this ethos of all y'all. We feel like all of these perspectives are important across geography, across race and class and ethnicity and gender. Everybody's got a story to tell, and we want to tell the authentic story of Appalachia as told by its folks. For me, the best stories come from just listening. Really, the essence of a story is about that person and the human experience. That's how we connect with each other.
Thanks for joining us on this special collaborative episode of Mountainthology, and a big thank you to the folks from Inside Appalachia. You can find audio episodes wherever you get your podcasts, and find video pieces like these on our website and YouTube channel. If you visit us on Passport, you can see an extended version of our interview with Mason Adams. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
This has been a production of West Virginia Public Broadcasting.